Welcome back to my channel. Today I am playing with my counterfeit kit and Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches. So yay, another one done with this kit. This is the hashtag for 30 Days of Sketches, and today is day 29 with Tara Van Moorsel. So this is the pictures I chose, and it is of my youngest, and she just got her braces off, so that's why she's kind of smiling funny, because she didn't know how to smile anymore. And I picked out these three papers. So that gray blue one and that polka dot one are from a really old pattern paper set. I have a lot of it still, but there was like a ton of paper, and I probably got it before 2000. So it's probably the oldest paper in my stash. So, and then I have this A New Day rainbow from Echo Park, and it's going to be the main basis of that sideways part, and I decided it needed to be inked, and I think I cut it by 11 by 11. And so on the sketch, this is askew, so I'm going to do it askew and get it on here. And this ended up being a little fussy because if I'd even a half an inch smaller, it wouldn't have been as fussy to get those corners, that top and like the bottom, and that bottom corner is the one that's bugging me on the right side, because I want it to be not off the page. So just trying to get it situated okay, and that will work. It doesn't look much different on the camera, but it is enough for me, so meh. And then I'm going to cut this piece. This is going to be in the first next diagonal piece. So just taking a look and pencil marking where I think it should get cut. And so that piece works there, which is great. Ink this one too. I think most of the papers, except for one set of papers, I forget, but it happens. So this one's going to go on. So that looks great. And these are the two pieces of scrap that I forget to ink. I used this paper on day 1 of 30 Days of Sketches. This was my first layout, and I thought the colors worked really well with this rainbow, so I'm just going to use it anyway, because I needed a piece to go across here, and my full pieces that I had left didn't really lend itself to this. So with the color palette that I have left in there. And so I was looking at the back side of that polka dot paper, and I don't like that. This one's not going to be big enough. That is my pile of scraps, so I just dumped that out on the side there, and I'm going to pull this B paper out. So I am going to cut my photos down, and so that one will work okay. It's not as big as in the sketch, but it's going to work just fine. So those are the 3 photos that I'm thinking of using, and in the spots I'm thinking of putting them, but I definitely need to cut down. So we just got back from the orthodontist, getting braces off. In Evie's hand is a pail of popcorn, because if you know anything about having braces, you can't eat popcorn. So the orthodontist gives popcorn out to the kids that have no more braces, and she also got balloons, and I'm going to cut the balloons off here in a minute, but you can still tell she has balloons because of the ties that she's got in her hand, I guess. And then I'm just trying to figure out where to cut off the B paper so I can have it on the top and the bottom. So I just marked it with a pencil, and it's not going to be perfect, but the imperfections will get hidden. And totally missed inking that one to start with, I think. It does get inked eventually. Yeah, there we go. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to ink that. I didn't go, oh yeah, with the chevron kind of pieces, but oh well. Now I'm going to move it over just a little bit, which is what makes the not quite line up exactly happen, but that's okay. And so then that piece is going to go in the bottom, and I like that. And then I've decided that my pictures were kind of getting lost, so I'm going to mat them in the tiniest bit of a black border, and that makes them stand out on those papers quite a bit more. And I'm going to place this photo so that it covers the hole from that 6x6 paper pad top. So yeah, yay. And then this is where I decided to cut the balloons off. And then on that goes. And then I have this piece that's going to be underneath, and I'm going to crop this down, and then I'm going to mat it too and get all that done. And then I didn't cut as much off as I wanted with my trimmer, so I'm just going to use my scissors and get in close there, and that works out pretty good. And then trying to figure out where I want that to go, and that looks pretty good. Remember to ink that one up. And so I'm going to get this down. I'm using my T-square just so that it looks like it's one whole piece, even though it's not. And then I'm going to get this chevron piece that's not a chevron anymore, but will be a chevron here in a second, on. And I did not remember to ink this one, but I also ran out of tape, so this is getting glued on. So yeah, it's not coming off. And then you can see that I didn't quite get it lined up, and I'm just moving it a little bit, and I'm like, nope, that's not coming up. So not going to happen, not going to worry about it. Can put it on there. And then this picture is just going to hide where it's not quite lined up anyway, where there's a little bit of a gap between that B paper and the pink. So that one's going to go on. It's going to be straight. This one's going to go on, and it's going to be straight. And then this one I'm going to slide underneath, and it will be straight as well. And then on the sketch they have, I think the title underneath. Well, I'm going to put the title underneath the most right picture. And I pulled out some blue alphas and this pink alpha, and I have a black alpha, so I'm going to write it as smile and then no more braces. So I'm going to use 3 different alphas to do this title, which I like the way it looks, but it does make it a little bit fiddly. So I'm going to get the smile on first. I'm going to use these next ones are really thin black dollar store alphas, and they're really sticky and they tear easily. So I'm going to get the N and the O on, and then because I tear 2 of these as I'm putting it on and it's that fiddly, I'm just going to move ahead to the last word. So and I end up putting them on and then actually having to take them off after I put the braces on. So my title is smile, no more braces. And so I was thinking about this bigger one, but I wanted it to fit on that chevron paper. And so the braces will fit there. But I do have to move the black ones up a little. So just getting these ones on. These ones are from Hip Kit Club. The pink ones are from Hip Kit Club, and the black ones are again from the dollar store. So, yay. And that's all moved. I like that. And then I'm going to look at the sketch, and the sketch doesn't really have a lot of, well, it has no embellishment on it. And so that one chevron piece of paper just is kind of hanging out there on the left side. And so I want a little bit of something else on here. So I'm going to put this gold house because we're at home and whatever. And then on, this is all Jen Hadfield. And so there's bagels, and Evie couldn't have bagels, but she had braces because they were too dense. So bagels went on. I looked at these Paige Evans banners and I went, nope. Nope. And I'm going to look through some of this other stuff, and none of that's going to be what I want. So I'm going to go into this pile of stuff, which also has some more Jen Hadfield. I'm going to pull off a gold and black congrats, and it's going to cover up what says bagels on there. The bagels could have stayed, but I liked the way that black word sticker looked. And then I'm going to find a B in this bit, and I'm going to have to fussy cut it out because it, I don't know, was connected together. I don't know what the connection pieces are for on this one, but meh, maybe for tabs or something. But I just tore apart, and I'm going to fussy cut around the B so it looks nice, and away we go. And so all that goes back in there. This goes off to the side. I'm looking for something else. So I'm like, I don't know. The bee needs to go in here because, well, there's bees on that pattern paper, but this is my Busy Bee kid, and she's called Busy Bee, so she gets bees on her layouts if I can help it. So sometimes a hidden bee, sometimes like way out like this one is. But, and they usually have nothing to do with the layout. I did decide, I did want something else here, and I'm like, I didn't want the flowers. I'm like, I don't know, what else do I have? And then I saw this rainbow, and so I'm going to peel up the bagel sticker and slide the rainbow underneath. And then the bee is going to go, get a little more trim, and then it's going to go in the middle of the rainbow. And yay. Looking for where I put my glue down. And that's a layout. All done. So here it is close up. I do always like take a look for a minute at it to see if there is literally anything else I want to do. I literally stare at my layouts for probably at least a minute, but I don't make you guys watch that because that would be boring. So here's some close-ups. I will have a Christie's playlist linked below, and if Tara has a YouTube, I'll have her linked below. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a wonderful day.